Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. We have a lot of news to cover today. We'll start up at the Taylor Rail Yard. Yesterday, Jeff Roberts went up and took a look and was able to see with this image here several Cybertrucks on the ground. He also got into the drone and was able to find 9 Cybertrucks getting ready for shipping out of the site, and I think this is the first time that we've seen Cybertrucks at this particular location. Now, if you're curious where it is, this is a map that shows you it's about 23 miles or 38 kilometers to the north of Giga Texas, and this is their primary rail yard for shipping vehicles. Nearby the Taylor Rail Yard, CBS Austin reports that Tesla has purchased a new facility. It's only about 3.5 miles or 5.7 kilometers from the Taylor Rail Yard in Hutto, Texas. This satellite image of the existing facility shows you what it looks like. And here's some documents that are public about the previous owner. It was Central Texas Metal Finishing, so it's a metal finishing shop, about 35,000 square feet, and Tesla is going to be doing a $1.5 million renovation for this facility. Now, Jeff Roberts also went up there yesterday and got these images of what the facility looks like right now. The labels and the signs for the previous business have been taken off, and renovation work is already underway. Although it's hard to say for sure, indications are that Tesla will be using this for future metal finishing projects, perhaps for development and testing. So again, thank you, Jeff Roberts, for going up to get these images and find out more information about the site yesterday. Another piece of news is that a brand new satellite image of Giga Texas has been released, and thank you to my Patreon, Kenan Bateman, for providing the link. It's here on the screen. Also, all of the links for the articles and this slide are in the video description, so I recommend you take a look at it. It's got a lot of detail, and you can zoom in and take a look at some of the facilities and the work at Giga Texas. Now, switching gears, a new piece of information I've been given is that this conveyor system up at the Boring Company Bastrop, Texas facility that I got highlighted here is on its way to Giga Texas, and that will be supporting the boring tunnel construction that is about to begin. In this image, this is speculation, but it's generally in the area where I think the boring tunnels may be constructed. Some people think that they may be slightly further south of this location. But a great resource that you can take a look at is a Boring Revolution website and channel. The link is here, also in the video description. They do a great job and provide a lot more detail and information about how the Boring Company processes work and how construction here at Giga Texas may take place. And finally, a slight correction to my slides on the Cybertruck projected run rate ramp for 2024. Many viewers pointed out I had a typo. I had written 180 seconds versus 108 as indicated. So I've now corrected those slides, and we'll continue to use these through 2024 to get a gauge on how the ramp for production of Cybertruck is progressing. So now that you are caught up on all of the news and latest activities going on around and associated with Giga Texas, let's get into the drone, let's fly around the site, and let's take a look at how Giga Texas looks like today. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Turned out to be a beautiful morning here at Giga Texas to fly, and we're going to start on the north end near the megapacks, where we see some exciting changes and some developments going on. As you can tell, there are utility workers on the north end of the megapack working on the last connections for the megapack so that it will be able to be connected to the grid. And I'll get in a little bit closer and I'll give you a zoom in look. But they're finishing up the installation of the replacement kind of the insulators there. You can see what that man lift is working. Also, the connections have been made, and it looks like they're getting another man lift near this area. So hopefully by the end of the day, we may actually see those breakers turned so that they are connected And once that is the case, then this system will be connected to the grid and powering not only Giga Texas, but also the region. So pretty cool to see that that is happening here, and fortunate to be able to show you those views. Towards the end of the video, you're also going to get a chance to see some acceleration testing going on with the Cybertrucks, so make sure you look for that as well. But as I maneuver around the power lines, I get to the north end, show you this pole with all of those connections. That is the north part of the Megapack site, and that looks like it's going pretty well. So overall, everything here at the Megapack and the electrical switchyard looks very promising today. So I'm going to fly back towards the east parking lot, and then we'll get over towards the north end of the building, and there's a few things that I want to show you that is going on up in that section of the factory today. Now, we did have more rains come through the area, and you can see that on the parking lot here. Fortunately, we did not get the ground fog that I was expecting this morning, so I was able to get flying about the normal time. On this northeast corner, you can see the work with all the castings, also some of the final remaining equipment here for that furnace. You can see that collector on the bottom of the screen. Still waiting for that to be installed, and again, I think that is related to the exhaust pipe on the top of the roof. We also see this very interesting delivery being made on this flatbed truck. At first, I wasn't sure if that was maybe a concrete section or not, but obviously with the way it's being picked up and moved with that forklift, it's just some other equipment, maybe some sort of dividers that are going into this part of the casting machine structure. Now, as I bring the drone down, gives you a good view of that east side. Also, the work that's going on in that berm on the left to continue to widen it out, and the plastic is to protect it from some of the erosion with all of the rains. You also see that the tops of those concrete vaults have been open, and then here in the middle of the parking lot, we can see some wires still kind of arraigned on the outside, not connected. And you can also see some of the effects of the rain at the bottom of that pit too. So continues to see additional wiring being put through these conduits going into the factory on this northeast side. Now, as we fly along the north side of the paint shop, near this central platform, we can see that the Cybertruck body that has had the car cover on it for the last couple of weeks has been partially blown off of it, so we can get a good chance to see what this Cybertruck body looks like. Again, it just looks like a body in white to me. Maybe they were testing some of the E-coating, which is corrosion control. Maybe they're testing some other parts of it, but for whatever reason, we get a good chance to see a little bit more of that Cybertruck body here on the north end of the paint shop. Now, we see some deliveries in the middle of the screen going into the plastics manufacturing section. And then here at the 4680 manufacturing section, we see a delivery truck with, looks like pipes getting ready to go inside this section. And again, the work is continuing to expand the 4680 production cell lines up to 8 eventually by the end of this year. So let's fly around the west side, the northwest side, flying on the west side to the south of the factory today. Again, you can see a lot of the remnants of the rains that we had last night and this morning. But I wanted to stop here and take a look at this former ramp that has been removed. And you see some of the water standing and the way it looks right now. Now, I've had some very interesting speculations about boring company, and maybe a boring tunnel will go through here. I'm not sure about that, but it'll be something that I will monitor. And thank you very much for those that have put the comments in for my videos. And I appreciate that. And you never know, we might see that. So I'll keep that on my radar. As we continue to fly to the south here, I notice there's a lot of activity at the end of line for the Model Ys. And you can see several here on the ground getting ready to be moved over to the east side. We'll also see a white one coming out of the ramp. And at least for now, this continues to be where the Model Ys exit the factory for the first time after production. So as we continue to fly towards the west main entrance, I'll pivot the drone over towards the landscaped section. I've actually had some people think that maybe this is where boring tunnels will come out. I don't think about if that's going to be the case as well, but you never know. And I'll keep an eye on that. You see some work going on with landscaping near the main entrance section, and that stone glass still looks like there's some sort of streaking that are still going on there, so maybe they're doing some final work on that. Now, I wanted to point this out to you. Now, Tesla has just announced 2 new colors for the Model Ys, but none of them are these colors. It looks like there's 3 of these lighter silvers, look very much like the silver that you see out of Giga Berlin. And personally, I like this much better than the dark silvers that Tesla has been favoring and what they just announced. So hopefully, maybe Giga Texas will be showing us that we're going to get some lighter silvers as well. And I do hope so. So I'm going to fly up over the roof. I haven't been over here in a while. Give you a good look at the solar panels, some of the steam coming up out of some of the ventilation shafts. And then later I'm going to revisit another section of the roof where we see some new work that is going on. But for now, let's take a look at the testing and calibration lot, get a good sense of how this looks today. Many of the Model Ys have been moved over to the outbound lot. And also, as we talked about in the intro, a lot of them are up at the rail yard in addition to some of the Cybertrucks. But this is a good view of how the testing calibration lot looks today. The helicopter pad, the Rainmaker device in the middle bottom of the screen, and of course the wind tunnel on the right. So I'm going to fly up over the very full water detention pond because I wanted to show you the outbound lot, the activity, not only with all of the Model Ys and many, many trucks departing the site full, but also we're seeing Cybertrucks being put together in groups, getting ready for movement via trucks as well. Now, because Giga Texas is such a construction zone and all of the rain and mud that we've had very recently, you'll note that many of the brand new Cybertrucks have mud on them. It's completely unavoidable right now when you drive around the site. Any car, no matter what it is going to get somewhat muddy, as you just saw. Now, as we fly up over these trucks that are loading up with the Model Ys, we see 3 more Cybertrucks getting ready for pickup. And again, the interesting thing is how they are now kind of interspersing the Cybertrucks with the Model Ys. They're not really grouping them separately like they used to. And with what we talked about at the intro and what Jeff Roberts saw at the railhead, we see the same thing up there as well. Now, there are a number of Cybertrucks parked here near the entrance of the outbound lot. You can see them on both sides of this road. And again, this is a good view of how the outbound lot is looking today. A lot of activity with the Model Ys. Definitely production has picked up for them. And of course, we're continuing to monitor the production rates of the Cybertrucks as well. So I'm going to pirouette the drone around, give you a good view of the west side, and let's proceed over towards the battery cathode plant complex of structures today. Still see a lot of the impact with the rains here, especially on this west side. A lot of ponding water next to the roadway. And some people have asked, why don't they do anything about this? The answer is that they are. They're installing a pretty robust underground stormwater management system, but it's incomplete. And you can see what happens when we get significant rain, even still on this side. But overall, where all the asphalt is put, it's much better than what we've seen before. And I didn't see anybody stranded in ponds today like we did on my previous video. So I'm going to come up over the battery cathode plant, come back down near the cell testing lab, and looking up towards the north gives you a really good view of the work that is going on, some of the earthwork as well. Looks like they are starting to remove some of those power lines and those islands on the north. But I'll have to look at that on another day. I decided to stay here, look at all of the materials, the tanks, and this gantry crane. Again, you can see that red with the Tesla and some of the support struts that will be used for that gantry crane, and some more of the equipment that is waiting for installation up on this side of the site. Now, as we get back closer to the north end of the battery cathode plant, this is a good view of how this entire site looks after a rain, with the ponds here, the work on the lift station, which has most of the top of the vaults completely closed in today, and of course here how the asphalt section and the graded area is doing a lot better than what you see on the right hand side, where all the water is continuing to pond. So I think more work obviously to be done here to correct that problem. Now, we do see some trenching next to the chiller plant today. And another thing that a couple of my viewers and Patreons noticed, and I'm going to reposition the drone and come in and give you a zoom in, is the Evapco units have markings, and they say cell B and cell C here with these two. Now, with the open sections on the left, and here's a zoom in so you can see that labels, it's cell B and cell C right underneath where it says Evapco. But anyway, there's those openings on the left, and it looks like more Evapco units will be there, and maybe that will be for cell A and D. And that tells us potentially that only half of the cathode plant is ready for operation at this point in time. I don't know if that's for sure, so it's something I'll have to continue to monitor. Now, the alleyway, we've seen the concrete being poured on my previous video. Now all that has been completed. Still tracking a lot of mud through here, but most of that area is now with concrete, which will help with the mud and water mitigation. On the east side, the trends are continuing to see less and less materials here as they continue to clean up this side. The crash test lab has been very busy. You can see some of the bodies arranged around on the north end. And then the water detention pond and this outfall channel. The crews continue to prepare for some of the concrete and finish out that section so that the outfall channel will be operational. It does look like there's less water in here, so they've been probably doing some pumping operations to get rid of all the rainwater. Now, near this temporary kitchen complex, I did notice near where we saw in my previous video, utility crews with the power lines, that there's some more trenching going on here. So continue to monitor that. Maybe that is related as well, and maybe they'll be able to remove those power lines. But we'll have to see and watch what develops. This new clearing has been mostly completed. It looks like it's just another parking space, at least for right now. And of course, a lot of activity here on the east warehouse on wheels. And this complex of some of the original trailers looks to me like it's getting ready maybe for dismantling at some point in the near future, maybe the next couple of months. As we fly along this section, not only do we see where the roadway is being prepared, we also see this trailer bringing in some of the parts for yet another crane. So expect to see 3 cranes here on this side. Maybe they want to accelerate the work on the multi-level parking garage. And you can see more of those crane yellow parts here. And we should be seeing more of that crane parts and the crane itself arriving. The footings continue to be worked on the middle section. And then as I zoom in, this is a good view of how the multi-level parking garage is continuing to develop. Now, based on the satellite image that I showed you at the intro and taking some additional measurements, I've had some Patreons figure out that the 7 floors combined with the footprint that this is being put together is very close to that 1.745 million square feet that we saw in the permit. And an interesting data point is, if that is in fact true, and the number of vehicles is about 11,000 or so in this parking garage, it will make it the 3rd largest parking garage in the world. And I'll continue to monitor that. Maybe I'll put together some presentation on that so you can see. But if so, this is going to be a significant parking garage. The south end continues to develop, and you can see the concrete slab on that southeast corner. The steel structure itself continues to grow. More of the steel being delivered not only on this side, but on the south side as well. And as we'll see, crews are getting ready to install more of the glass panes on this southeast side. So I'll maneuver the drone around here and give you some different views of the structure from this vantage point. I mentioned I was going to come back and take a look at the roof. So we'll come over towards the north end of the stamping machine structure, and I'll show you where crews are removing more of the weatherproof membrane in a large rectangular section here on the roof. This is very reminiscent to a nearby ventilation system that was for the HVAC just behind the drone, and it looks like they may be preparing to do another one of those here on this side of the factory. So something worth watching as time goes on, but I wanted to at least point out to you that continued roof work is going on, and this is one of the reasons why the solar panel phase 2 hasn't continued yet, because of all of the roof modifications. Now on the south end, we see shoring being brought by trucks. This is for the cranes to help keep them from sinking into the soil. We also see more of the work on footings and some smaller, maybe almost like a perimeter grade beam near the exterior wall. The water standing here is still pretty bad, but fortunately most of the footings on this side are completed. And as we cross over the perimeter grade beam on the south side, we see more of the steel has been delivered. The crews right now are using the crane to sort the beams out, but we also see those beams with some of those pads on them that are for the windows. And I'm going to give you a closer look at what that would appear like when it is installed here in just a second as we pass by this crane. Now you can see the shoring that's on the ground that the crane is on. That's what we saw being delivered. And then you see those brown kind of squares on the beam facing us right above the perimeter grade beam. Those are the pads that are used to mount the glass panes. And here I'll zoom in. You can see a worker doing some preparation work on those pads here next to the 3 panes that were installed. And as I pan over to the right, we can actually see that the crews are preparing these boxes that have the glass panes in them, so that we may actually see more of those glass panes being installed. Those yellow items that you see are part of the suction devices that are used to pick up the panes. And so to me, it looks like we're going to see more of the glass on that southeast side, but also it's going to continue along the entire south side of this new structure as well. So while we're here, let's turn back towards the southwest corner, fly over this ponded area, and you can see the concrete on the perimeter grade beam on the angled portion is completed, and now they're putting another formed section in here on that west side. We also see more work going on here, making the footings, and some of them right at the base of the wall. As you can tell, some of the rebars being put in, and some more work on those footings. And then here, more work on that perimeter grade beam. So we're getting close to having most of the footing and grade beam work done on this south side. Now this section here is where we used to see some of the Cybertrucks temporarily stored. There's only 3 of them now, but also I think that may be one of the locations that the boring company comes out, as we've discussed before, but we'll have to watch that to see. On the other side of the highway, I wanted to give you a good view of where the boring company is starting to set up its operations. And we see a crane, a blue and white crane, next to a new delivery that just arrived. I'm not 100% sure if this is related to the boring company or not, but it is in this location where you see those concrete boring tunnel segments, and also some of the other equipment, including those cement silos on the ground. Now there's that truck with more of the electrical conduit. I think that's related to the trenching that we see on the right-hand side of the screen as they continue to line this entire east side with electrical conduit. And I think that will also allow them to remove the power lines, the short ones you see on the right-hand side of the screen. Now as we fly up over this section and this material staging area, I wanted to show you the developments on the south side of the end-of-line facility with the preparation for the supercharger system. We see all of the conduit being installed in those trenches. The mounts for the columns to support the canopy are all in as well, and it looks like right now the primary focus is to finish up the electrical conduit. Now some of this electrical conduit may be used, or the electrical power, to help power some of the boring tunnel, since that process uses a lot of electricity. So that'll be another thing that we continue to monitor. Now about this point, I noticed that we were getting more Cybertruck testing, And I thought this time I wanted to try to come over and give you some really good views, much more in focus and a lot larger here. So let's take a look at some of the testing that is going on here on the west side. And they're using this paved section. Right now, I only see one Cybertruck, but we do see many Tesla employees, and looks like maybe some engineering analysis going on here. And I'll show you that here shortly, but they're clearly doing testing on this vehicle. And looking at some of the tape and some of the markings on it, it's definitely a test vehicle. Now, as I continue to maneuver around, one of the interesting things is that it's getting ready to do an acceleration test. And I actually had to change the drone to the sport mode and trying to keep up with the Cybertruck. Now, of course, this is slightly sped up video, but this gives you an idea of just how quickly it was, and it outpaced the drone. So I was able to finally catch back up to it. But this gives you a good view of how this testing is going on. You can see the Tesla employees here with the vehicles and those cones. And it looks like they may be doing some testing also on perhaps some of the parking of full self-driving. But we'll have to see what they announce or what comes out of that. But right now for the Cybertruck testing, as you can tell, they are doing some turns around. It looks like they were intentionally going onto the dirt, and then here's a good acceleration test, and I'll try to keep up with it with the drone. And once again, they complete that acceleration test in a straight line, and it looks like now they're doing some data collection. And as I continue to follow around the drone, we'll see the Cybertruck come to the corner, and then it will start departing this test site. So I will resume now back to taking a look at the west side, but I hope that you enjoyed those views of some of the testing that is going on with Cybertrucks, and they're using this side of the factory. The HVAC equipment has been installed, and the ducting, as you can tell here, and there's additional trench work that is going on. Some of them are concrete pipes, some of them are electrical conduit, and you can see that looks like a temporary HVAC system with those white pipes in operation right now. But this is a good view of how the west side of the end-of-line facility looks. Now this north side that's kind of juts out towards the drone and has those black sections. I had a viewer say that they think that that's going to be glass, and maybe that's actually going to be a small cafeteria. And if that's the case, that would be a great addition for the employees that will be working on this side of the site. So anyway, I'm going to reposition the drone, fly over the west warehouse on wheels, look back at the main factory, and give you some of the parting views of some of the areas that we were able to visit and see today during the drone flight. And I'm very happy that the fog that I was expecting never materialized, so it was a great day to fly. I hope you enjoyed what we were able to see. As always, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.